Welcome to Identifying Your Learning Styles. In this short video we're going to cover the different learning styles and preferences and how you can identify your learning preferences. So has there ever been a time when you've given up on something because you thought you weren't smart enough? Well, it's more than likely that someone was using a different learning preference to yours. So there are all sorts of different learning preferences. If you understand yours, then you can learn much faster and much smarter. So we're all a mixture of visual, auditory, kinesthetic and also logical. There's quite an easy way to work out what your learning preference is. For example, visual learners look up when they are asked a remembering question, such as "What did you do on the weekend?" They will also use visual phrases and words such as "Does that look right to you?" or "I see what you mean." The other thing you'll find with visual learners is they talk really fast because they're trying to keep up with those images that are in their mind. If you're an auditory learner, what you'll do when you're asked a remembering question is look sideways. So if someone says, "What did you do on the weekend?" if that's your first preference, your eye will move to the side. They will also use auditory terms such as "That doesn't sound right," or "Do you hear what I'm saying?" The other thing you'll find is auditory learners tend to talk slower, and they are often quiet in classrooms and also in meetings because they're listening to what's being said. The kinesthetic learners tend to give themselves away. They tend to look down when asked a remembering question. They'll often use feeling words and phrases such as "That doesn't feel right," or "My gut reaction is." But the big thing that gives them away is that they fidget, they like to doodle, they like to click pens, and that tends to be a dead giveaway. Our logical learners tend to look straight ahead when asked a remembering question, and they'll use logical phrases such as "That doesn't make sense," "I'm confused." They tend to also like logical structure, dot points and flow charts. So the way to tell your learning preference is to pair up with someone. Appoint one of them as the speaker and one as the listener. The listener can then be asked a remembering question such as "What did you do on the weekend?" And what the listener needs to do is listen to the words that the speaker uses and also watch what their eyes do. What you'll tend to find is they'll perhaps look up first and then maybe sideways, and that would tell you that their first preference was visual and their second preference was auditory. And that's important to understand the sequence of their preferences as well. After you've done that for about 2 minutes and talked about remembering stuff, then you could stop, share what you've observed, and then perhaps swap roles so both of you can work out which preferences you have. So here's an easy way to remember it. VAK, V-A-K, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and also looking straight ahead for logical. Now I'll just spend a minute or two going through some study tips that might help you depending on your preferences. So if you're a visual learner, using things like colour, so highlighters, coloured pens, pencils, sticky tabs that are different colours can help as well. It can also help visual learners to take detailed notes in class and then summarise them. Now if you're a bit more creative, a mind map will help. If you're much more logical, then dot points will work best for you. Sometimes too, drawing pictures can help you remember key concepts. There's quite a lot of information on things such as mind maps on the internet, so just Google that and you'll find some really good information. The other thing is making bright colourful posters can help too. If you're an auditory learner, things such as talking to yourself or to others about what you've learned, trying to get auditory versions of what your teacher is talking about, so you could use a voice recorder in a lecture or a class. Sometimes making up songs to yourself to remember the key concepts. Some auditories like to study in quiet rooms, some like to have music or TV playing in the background. My kinesthetic people need to move around, use colour, use textures such as pencils, highlighters, again mind maps or flow charts depending on your other preference, pairing up with kinesthetic learners and taking notes and highlighting stuff. Finding my logicals, make sure that you do stuff in logical sequence, and if you don't understand, ask lots of questions. Thank you very much for enjoying this.